When revenue is fragile, you feel it everywhere. And this is not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because one client pauses or one slow month. And you may feel like you may feel like nervous and anxious and have anxiety about what are you going to do? How are you going to survive? How are you going to be consistent? And it doesn't matter if you're making six figures, seven figures, eight figures. I even have spoken to nine-figure businesses who are getting the clients, who are closing the contract, closing the deals, and they have yet still not broken into consistency. And I want to talk about predictability because it's one of the leading problems that I feel small businesses have. When the majority of small businesses go out of business in year three, five, and seven, when the majority of small businesses that started in the midst of pandemic are actually going bankrupt, closing their doors, there is something wrong with the formula. And I'm here to share with you for those business owners who are already established, you already know who your buyer is, you have experience, and you just want to get clarity on consistency, predictability, and knowing who to sell to. My name is Melinda Cologne. If you don't know me, and I'm a business strategist and I specialize in government contracting. Now, I want to say that we're not here to talk about my record, here to actually serve you. I have helped clients achieve great results and have stabilized their business, create a backlog. Now, if you don't know what a backlog is, it's kind of like getting clients, locking them in before you deliver the work. And that backlog becomes your pillow at night. You rest surely knowing that there's confidence in how you're going to pay your team, how you're going to keep the lights on, how you're going to keep marketing, and how you can stay out of doing all the things that you graduated out of when you started your business. Now, if one client pauses, or you have one slow month, or you notice that there's this ebb and flow. It's just up and down in your business. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. This is just what happens on the private market side. And I want to talk to you specifically what that is. It's the side that really starts shriveling up when there's any sense of fear or excitement or concern about the future. There's this market that everybody sells to, and it becomes really saturated. And oftentimes, what happens in this market is that you don't know what the budget is. You don't know how much they're going to be able to accept from your specific services that you provide. You compete. You're like, what is everybody else charging? Right? You're always looking for another way to sell to another client. And you might be spending a ton of money in ads and seeing like a really short return. And all of this is calculating to the average way of doing things. So today, I want to actually share with you a really quick, what I call stability audit, so that you can tell if your business is quietly exposed, even if things look good on your P&L, your profit and loss statement. So, all right, really quick. Here is what's happening. You overthink every client message. You might get an email, you might get a DM or a text from a client, and you're like, what does this mean? Or you might delegate responsibility to your team, and then you hear third party what happened, and you're thinking, we have to support them. And there's this urgency, there's just like excitement that I have to be available to everything. It's hard to delegate, right? You feel like I need to be available. Only I can respond to that thing. And this is my business. This is an extension of my reputation, my authority in the marketplace. It has to go perfect. And when you delegate that way, it feels heavy because you've made it heavy. And I'm not here to shame because listen, delegation is very difficult and I still struggle with it till today. However, there's something that we can do to build stability. Have you ever noticed or you've thought about the way that you kind of live life? You wake up every morning, you have a specific routine that you like to have in place, even if it's monthly or quarterly. There are things that you just bank on, right? There are things that that you want to make sure that happen every single day, or you just feel out of whack. That predictability, that habit, that mastery of the thing that you're doing every single day, it could be as small as brushing your teeth. That habit is actually what can cause you to elevate. Okay, let me explain for a second. So, you know how things are really volatile. Right now, there's so much uncertainty. There's AI, and then there's Iran, and then there's all these things that are happening that are out of your control. And you're thinking, how the heck, this is the end of quarter one. How the heck am I going to accomplish my 2026 year end goals with all of this uncertainty? So you grind, you figure out, okay, is everybody locking into AI? I got to lock into AI. I got to make sure AI is just like everywhere in my business. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I'm saying that there is an easier and better way to how you grow and scale your business. And you might not be thinking for long term, well, I'm just starting out. I've only been in business for 2, 3, 5 years, Belinda. I don't need scale yet. I just want stability. And I hear you. I understand. And what I'm sharing with you is a way that you can speak to your ideal buyer, the person that is going to pay you consistently, predictably, and actually tell you how much they've set aside in their budget year after year after year. Imagine you have a client, like everybody wants those long-term clients, those lifetime value clients, the clients that stay around forever. Oh my goodness, talk about marketing budgets. Take a breath, right? When you have a client that pays you consistently over and over and over again, how about clients that you know what their budget is, when they're actually going to need your services so that you can position before everybody else? How about working in a market that is not saturated, like literally not saturated? You may have about, compared to the private sector, I'm going to guesstimate about 3 to 5% competition versus in the private sector, it's like oversaturated. It's like 100, 200%, right? Everybody is doing everything in the private side. It's what everybody is doing right now. However, I have a way for you to lock in to a market that not a lot of people talk about and not a lot of people go into because it seems challenging. It seems hard. Oh my gosh, but the what is it? The return is exponential. I'm talking hundreds of thousands, not millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. But first, let's talk about the audit and what that audit looks like. So, first few questions I have for you. Now, you're doing well, but do you feel secure? Like we're closing out, it's March 17th, we're closing out the year or the closing out the quarter. Do you feel secure? Have you hit your quarterly goal? What has been in your way? What has caused you to be in your way? Now, you might say leads, you might say ideal buyers. Maybe you're talking to a lot of the wrong fit clients. I get you. I understand that is very challenging. It's very painful. It's time consuming. And it's always like you have to go back to the messaging, right? You're like, okay, so what am I saying to this audience that is causing them to think that this is the right fit for them? Because what we're not trying to do is we're not trying to serve people. We're trying to set people free from being in confusion, right? We're trying to get clarity. We're trying to just dial in to the right people so we can serve more of those people that need our services. Now, the second question I have for you is you have a good month and immediately you wonder if it'll drop next month because you've seen the pattern. You've looked and you studied, the data, you've looked at your KPIs and you're thinking to yourself, why is it that these are the pattern months that revenue go down? You notice this. I mean, year after year, you've noticed it. You've paid attention to what, how to use sphere language versus, opportunity and, just the bull and the bearish language in your marketing so that you could speak to the buyer at where they are right now. And that in itself requires science. This is why marketing is like art and science. Now, if you're feeling that where you're seeing, okay, yeah, Melinda, I start to see maybe you have a dip in, February, March, and then it goes up again in the spring and it goes down again in the summer. It's very common for a lot of service businesses because, kids are off for school. So there's spring vacation, there's summer, and there's Easter, and there's all these holidays in between. And so there's inconsistency. And then everything starts to rev up in the end of the year because people just buy from like the end of October all the way through till January. So you've heard these things and you probably practice marketing strategies to really just improve or empower your business to grow within those spaces. Now, what about the rest of the months? The months that actually go down? Are you paying attention to those? Are you looking for ways to build stability in those months where you go from January to December and you're making just about the same amount of revenue every month? Or how about the control you have in your business? Like, how far in advance can you actually plan for the success of your business? Now, if you're going to say, I don't really know, plan past a year, you're in danger. Danger. Because what happens is your business, when you get towards the end of the year, the next 12 months has already appeared. It's already in your sight. So how do you go from month? You can't go from month to month. You can't go new year. You see the best builders, the best economists, the financial advisors, the billionaires, they're planning 5, 10, 15, and 20 years in advance. They're thinking 20 years from now, what does my life look like? And what do I have to do today so that I can achieve that goal? Whoa. Now that's huge and it's an advanced step, but let's just take it just one notch down just so that we can make it practical. What if we just focus on the next 3 years? Like by 2030, what is your life? What do you want your life to look like? For me personally, I've helped our clients achieve over $5.8 billion in client wins, in contract wins. I want that number to be 15 billion by 2030. Why? Because I really believe the public sector is the solution that businesses are desperately looking for every single day. It quiets the noise in paid ads. It quiets the noise from sending an email to a list every single day and bombarding them and overwhelming them every day. When you can send and actually invest the time to learn this one time and build relationships with community builders and become one yourself, it's a win-win, especially if you're someone who is thinking like, I want my community to be improved for my kids. I want some leave a legacy for my kids. I want to be a part of the change that I see around them. That is a legacy builder. The only way you can get into that position is if you have power. And the only way to get power in this world is to have money. And the only way to get money consistently and predictably is to be able to sell your services to as many buyers that need the solution that you provide for the problem they have. I guarantee, based off the data, only 3% of the market is actually selling to all of their buyers. That means that there's 97% opportunity for your business to build stability and predictability. This is insane. And I get so excited about this because I've seen how it transforms a 6-figure to a 7-figure in 30 days, or a 7-figure to $1 billion backlog in 18 months. Is this possible? 100%. It's just about understanding basic principles. And when you understand the basic principles, now you're not just serving the existing clients you serve. You're able to provide them the experience they deserve and they desire. You're not having to compete on price alone. You compete on expertise and authority. One of the things that I love seeing, I love seeing, is a business owner who reveals hundreds of millions of dollars in one calendar year for their business, and they get excited. They're like, "Where has this been?" And I'm like, "This is the money you've been leaving on the table year after year after year." How long have you been in the business? 5, 10 years? That's 5 or 10 years not having hundreds of millions of dollars of access to opportunities that your business can employ. Selling a service you already sell. It's like, you might close deals in DMs, you might close deals in email, landing pages of via cells, or you might do some deals in networking, whatever it might be. Just think, if I had an additional buyer that had a budget that never goes away, never gets afraid in times of uncertainty, is consistent, buys regardless, and needs what I have. And oh my gosh, the best part, and they're required to pay you on time. They're required to pay you on time. You're not having to chase. You don't need another division of your company that's like doing calls or emails to send to clients to pay their bills. They're just paying you because by law they have to pay you. It's insane. Now, who am I talking about? You're like, okay, you talked about public sector. I think it's government contracts. And yes, it is government contracts, but it's the part where you probably haven't heard enough about. Right now, everybody's talking about federal contracts, and those are totally doable and accessible for everybody. But let's just talk about the low hanging fruit, the buyers that don't get mentioned quite often, but they're the ones that are staring us in the face every single day from the time that we wake up in the morning all the way time to go to bed. And we see them all the time. I'm talking about airports. I'm talking about schools, colleges, public colleges. I'm talking about libraries, EMS and safety. I'm talking about oh my gosh, there's so many institutions. There's hospitals, public hospitals. One of our clients, we help them put together a submittal for a nearly, it was nearly $1 billion project. Okay. There's so much opportunity for your business. And you might be thinking to yourself, I don't have a lot of experience. Here's how you can audit your experience. Because one thing that I will say, I stray away from helping startups win contracts. And I'm going to tell you why in this. And it's really simple. So if you're a startup, listen in because I want to tell you something so that you can go really, really fast. I have tons of experience helping clients achieve not only in our business, but in other people's businesses. So listen up. When it comes to selling your services to anyone, but specifically the government, there is a reputation that follows. Okay. So when you put together your marketing material, your branding, they're they're actually banking on you mitigating their risk by hiring you. What does that mean? That means that if you are just starting out, let's say you're right out of a college and you're starting a company, or you're just done with a 9 to 5 and you're starting a company, if you haven't done an appropriate assessment on your skill sets, and I say specifically your skill sets, then it's going to be challenging to sell to the government. It might take you that 18 months to 24 months that statistically shows. Why? Because you haven't yet built the strength of being a business owner. Even if your strategy is middlemen, oh my gosh, I'm just giving you this like valuable asset value information right now. Even if your strategy is middlemen, you still need to communicate to a buyer why you should be involved in that transaction. So, for example, it's cleaning services. Well, you find a company that provides cleaning services and you broker or you say, hey, agency, I have this company that does cleaning services. You put yourself on the contract, you put a percentage for your services, but you still haven't articulated your value. Why do they need you? If they're saying that we need cleaning services, why do they need you? What value you bring? That increases the risk because now they're thinking, why is this more complicated than just going and working with a cleaning company? This is why I see when people come to me that are working the middleman strategy, their win rate is less than 2% because they haven't yet figured out what their value is in the marketplace. Now, I'm not talking about you doing the work. Sometimes you have to, right? It's a part of the starting a business, building systems and saying, I really want to do this thing. But if it's not employed in your company, even if it's not you, say like you have a partner who does the work, what is the skill? What is the value of your LLC to the client, to that buyer, to hire you versus going directly to the cleaning company? That needs to be articulated in your proposal, in your pricing, and it needs to make sense. So, this is why I say this is not really a play for startups unless you have the skills from, let's say, a previous job. Say you were in corporate America, all you did was IT, all you did were systems, all you did was data analyst, and you see a proposal or a contract for your exact thing that you were doing as a job. 100% position yourself to win that contract. 100% build relationship with that agency because more than likely you're going to underprice yourself. But you're going to be good with that because that's just getting yourself in there. But your pricing strategy is going to be different than an established business owner. So you want to do research in that arena. Like, what are people winning contracts for this specific service that I am about to sell to the government? And you could go lower because you're just a startup, right? You don't have overhead costs that are crazy. You don't have big teams, and those are leverage points. Okay. So even as a small business, if you're 1, 2 years in a business, think about what is all the value that I can bring into this contract that can lower the risk to the buyer and help them understand that I am the right fit. That's how they make decisions. It's not always about price. In fact, majority of the time it's not because they can't justify hiring someone that doesn't have the skill set and experience to do the thing. That would be like giving giving someone your like literally giving somebody your money saying, here's $1 million, go hire someone to build you a house. And they go and get a handyman. And it's like, have you ever built a house before? No. But their agreement was for 800,000. So yeah, that's not justifiable. So you see, like this has to make sense in every arena. Now, with the reputation part, this is powerful. You see, agency buyers, they're this beautiful community of regular people that live in your neighborhood. They're your neighbors. They go to church with you. They are dropping off their kids in the drop off, route thing. Um, they're at soccer practice on Saturdays. They're in the grocery trying to tell their kids to shh, quiet. Stay here, hold my hand, hold the cart, right? They're just regular people. They are driving their cars, just like jamming in the street, right? They're regular people that are buying your services. And this is where everything gets easier. They're not looking for you or your business to be perfect. They're looking for your business to solve a problem they have. Can you do that? Of course you can. You've done it for so many clients. So it's just about communicating in their language what you do. That's it. That's it. So thinking about, is your business doing well? Is there inconsistency? Is there challenges with cash flow? Are there problems with hiring the right people for the right positions, right? So you don't have to train that person to do the work. You can hire people that already know how to do the work and they can train other people, right? Oh my gosh, I'm talking to somebody. And so this is an opportunity for you to do that faster. Because once you know what they buy, when they buy, and you position to sell, what they buy so that they could buy it from you, then life changes. There's stability. Melinda, but I don't want to chase. I don't want to chase contracts. I don't want to, like, how do you know you only have 2 weeks, right? For one vehicle type. There are so many vehicle types across state, local, and government or federal that you can go after. It is insane. And really, honestly, by the time that it's advertised, it's too late. Like, you're not getting the benefit of building a relationship with the buyer to that influences what the contract actually looks like. Let me give you an example. About 2 years ago, I had a prediction. I thought to myself, podcasting is getting really big. Social media is just like the life force for every business, even offline. I'm wondering, will there be contracts for these two services? And I was right. I was right. Why? Because private sector comes before public sector demand. So, as the private sector demand increases, public sector demand increases. If we start seeing that AI is taking, like, just everything is AI, 100%, I would align myself. If I were you, if you're selling AI services, I would align myself to being the authority for a government agency. You don't have to be the authority in the private sector. You don't have to be on every scroll. You don't. You just need to be able to sell services providing a solution to someone that needs a solution to their problem, and have a receipt, proof that you've actually done that. This is where then you can start really building some crazy relationships, having conversations like lessons learned, doing workshops for them, having in-person meetings, scheduling a opportunity, like, just it's there's more to the story, is what I'm saying. And I'm just tired of people not hearing the whole story. I'm tired of people just hearing the federal, oh, just go and get a contract story. I'm just really sick of it, because there's so much opportunity for your business to exceed your expectations, to really stabilize. Like, what is it going to do when you are able to you're selling one service, you have one system, and everything is optimized in that system? My gosh, hands off. 100%. You have free time. You're able to do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. And your business is basically running its own. Now it increases the value of your business. If you're thinking of selling, acquiring, whatever, government contracts it's always a thumbs up. When I speak to my friends who are business brokers, that's what they say. They're like, is that business have a government? And I'm like, yes. So that's a part of what I do, is help business owners reveal opportunities to increase the value of their business. But you got to have systems associated with that so that you can go really fast and start stacking contracts on top of each other, because there's no limit. There's no paid ads. You don't have to worry about emailing them a bunch of times. It's about building a relationship and then selling the service and then closing the contract. You already know that. You already know how to do this. You already do the basics of delivering the thing. I help you get to sell the thing to the people that will buy consistently. And so I want to actually invite you to an event I'm hosting on the 27th. It's yeah, it's Friday the 27th at 11 a.m. And all you have to do is click the link in the description box. I'll make sure to put that in there, and go and register. It is completely free. And for 90 minutes, I'm going to share with you how you can take your existing business, what you currently serve and sell right now, and sell it to the government. And if you're on the fence, you're like, the government doesn't buy what I sell, come anyway, because I will blow your mind. I have spoken to so many business owners. And here's the secret part. When I speak to them, I'm not thinking just government. I'm thinking private sector too. I'm thinking, how successful is your business? They're like 5 million, 10 million. Cool. You're going to be great. How do you know that? How do you know that? Because it's in demand. It's in demand. Period. Point blank. Done. Okay. So it's that simple. So if you qualified that your business is doing great success, and you are a service business owner, preferably in construction, engineering, IT, professional services like marketing or accounting, um, or facility maintenance, janitorial, cleaning, you know, those businesses tend to do the best and the fastest in terms of converting and closing deals. Our clients on average close contracts within 60 to 90 days. The industry average is 18 to 24 months. Our win rate is 74%. Um, yeah, great stats. I got great stats. And I got tons of proof to show it. So just come to the predictable contracts for the business you already built event. It's going to be on March 27th. I would love to see you there. We'll make sure to have the links in the comments. And also, if you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook, they'll be pinned to my profile. So you can just click, boop, bop, and just register for free, save your spot. I will be answering questions live. So you definitely want to be there so that you just get clarity. Like maybe government contracts is not a right fit, but at least you know firsthand from a strategist that does this on a regular basis versus trying to guess through AI and ChatGPT. Or maybe you're like, you know what? Yes, I do want government contracts, but I feel like I need X, Y, and Z. Maybe you think that you need a certification. Oftentimes you don't. You need a certification to win a contract. Actually, that's not true. Um, I can go on a rant for that too. Or you say, well, I can't find contracts near me. Well, I got you there too. There's nearly 100,000 agencies just in the United States alone. So you do the math, right? The probability is there. Um, you might say, you don't have time to bid, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time. I got to fill out all these forms, these paperwork, da da da. I got you. We'll talk more about that too. So, any questions that you have, or you might think to yourself, I think that this is a bottleneck, come bring the bottleneck. Let me know what the bottleneck is, and we'll just go ahead and debunk it or we'll validate it. I don't know what your challenge might be. It may true. Like there's tons of things that are not great ideas to sell to the government. Like I spoke to a guy, he's a DJ. He's a DJ. And he's like, can I build consistency in my business? And I said, it's kind of seasonal. It's really seasonal. You could go after, specific programs and events that have big conferences. Yes, very profitable. But at this point, not every agency is running, these big events where they need DJs. And usually they will buy from local agencies or local businesses first for those specific services versus, outside. So depending on what you do and depending on where you are, both in your business and geographically, we can figure out a strategy. I would love to serve you in that way and give you the clarity that you need before the end of this quarter. Why? Because, baby, you're going to make so much money this year. You might as well go ahead and book the tickets and the plane and everything else. It's on your bucket list because it's about to go crazy. Amazing, crazy. You'll be so excited. And you and I will be in 2030 today celebrating the accomplishment of our goals. Guys, again, my name is Melinda Colon. I am a business growth consultant and government contracting expert and advisor, and I'm here to serve you. So go ahead and make sure to register for March 27th, where I will share with you predictable contracts for the business that you already built. I'll see you there.